Welcome to Meeting 4 of the Sad Bitch Club podcast. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Kaitlyn.
All right. We got a kind of heavy hitter this week. So we've got some warnings up front. Kaitlyn, do you want to read through those?
Yeah. So just a trigger warning for the friendos. We are going to be discussing sexual assault, gaslighting, and related trauma. But before we get into all the craziness, let's just catch up and chill and just chat of how we're doing right now.
Yeah, what you got going on this week?
A lot.
Yeah. Yes.
Mother's Day is coming up. Whether that's a holiday you enjoy or don't, I'm making 35 plus candles for moms and grandmas, and
That's so many candles.
so many candles.
That's so many candles.
So many smells commingling in my office.
That's true.
I started working.
I don't know how you don't constantly have a headache.
I do. I really should be wearing a respirator when I make a lot of these candles. Just not because it's like toxic or anything, but when you have a lot of different scents going on around the same time, it's not fun. I started experimenting and finalizing a formula for a new candle that has very heavy notes of garlic in it. Yeah, and my room still smells like garlic 7 hours later.
Fun. That's a great smell.
But other than that, just kind of chilling, hanging out. Been keeping busy. I had a little like vacation, quote unquote vacation, a 4-day weekend.
Quote unquote vacation.
Right, a 4-day weekend from my full-time job, which even then, I popped on every now and then to help with something, which I'm totally fine with. I did that so I can focus on a project, but even then, that project is paused at the moment just because I'm kind of waiting to hear like final details on like what I need to do.
Yeah.
But I worked on filming the whole thing. It's ready to edit. Everything's good to go. And I'm pretty excited to like show what that is. But I put a teaser of what it could be on my TikTok if you want to.
You did. I saw it.
You did? Okay, great.
Yes, I did.
Great. Wrong answers only. What do you think it is?
It's definitely some kind of poop scented candle.
I said wrong answers, Rachel.
Oh, sorry.
But
my bad.
How's your week? How you doing? What's going on? We haven't talked too much this week. Like typically we talk like every day.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep busy. So I went out last Friday, worked all weekend, and then have been kind of trying to play catch up on hanging out with the friendos the last few days, while also trying to clean my apartment, which is sort of done, but isn't done.
Heyo, progress.
Yeah. It looks better than it did. I'm doing much better at consistently doing little things to keep it clean, so I don't have to do it all at once like this anymore, but It's a work in progress.
It's so stressful. Like, it depends on where I'm at mentally, where I'll either, do all the little things to kind of upkeep a generally clean space, right, especially in like the common areas of the house. But when it comes to my office, I just kind of let it get bad.
That's
until I have a moment of clarity and I'm like, or I'm completely stressed out one way or the other, like I need to clean.
And I'm coming out of a little bit of a funk, so it's understandable that stuff got behind, but now I just got to catch up.
Oh, good. But what is like your least favorite like part of cleaning your apartment?
Doing all my laundry.
Laundry is the worst. I don't mind the actual act of cleaning the laundry. But the folding and stuff, I can't do it.
Laundry for me is just so much cat hair between work and home.
Oh,
that it's a nightmare because it needs done way more often than it gets done because I A, don't have laundry in my unit, and B, have to pay to do laundry here. So unless I drive out to my mom's or am willing to spend a bunch of money to do my laundry, it's a pain in the ass to do my laundry.
That's terrible. Like in-unit laundry, even when I had an apartment, was like my number one thing.
When I get a different place at some point, I am for sure going to make sure I have in-unit laundry, but unfortunately I do not currently.
It's a game changer, tell you what.
Yeah, it would make my life a lot easier.
My least favorite thing to do, probably because I've been doing it since I was like maybe 10-ish, is vacuuming the house.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but I have to do it. That's the thing, is I hate it because I have to. Otherwise, my allergies get really bad.
Yeah, that's the same issue with my laundry, is if I don't, rotate my sheets and wash everything super often, it just gets covered in cat hair.
Right, and then I wake up with itchy eyes. Although, did you see my tweet about that chom chom?
Which one?
It's called a chom chom, and it's a pet
yes. I did.
It's like a lint roller, but not. And it has like a little trapper that holds the hair. And so I've been using it on, well, first off, I've seen it on TikTok for months and just never thought about it again. I was like, wow, that seems super cool, but does it really work? And then my mom randomly was like, have you heard of the chom chom? And I was like, yes, of course. It's all over TikTok. She was like, you should get it. I said, fine. Because I was tired of using this one lint roller. Like on my side of the bed right next to my pillow is where Zen and Dorcas take turns sleeping. I'm highly allergic to cats, so I don't love it. So I got the chom chom, and I got the exclusive cat version. It was cheaper than the original, I think. I don't remember.
Interesting.
It's an orange cat, so it's very fitting.
Absolutely.
And tell you fucking what, life changer. I love it so much. Not sponsored, but hey, chom chom, you trying to reach out? I love it so much, and it works really well. I use it all on the couch. I actually used it on the cat tree too, and it's, oh my god, my new favorite toy.
Your favorite toys are always things to clean your house with.
Yeah, cleaning, like, for me, I either have to do when I'm in a really good mood or a really bad mood. I remember when I was younger, I would be the most productive cleaning my room when I was upset and listening to like fucking some sort of music, alternative usually, but like System of a Down or like the Metallica S&M album, which is their live one with a symphony orchestra. It's beautiful and very aggressive all at the same time, and it's my favorite thing to clean to.
That's fair.
Some people clean to like very happy music, and I can't do that. I have to be like pissed off to clean.
I clean to podcasts.
Yeah. Do you clean to our podcast?
No, not normally. I've been listening through a lot of like spooky supernatural podcasts lately, for D&D planning ideas and just general kind of folklore stuff, because I like that. And so that's what I've been cleaning at work and at home too lately.
Makes sense. Oh, yeah. I wish I could. Just kidding. I can. I wish I could listen to it while working. Bitch, I work from home. I can do whatever. I can watch Netflix while working.
You sure can.
Bro. But like back when I worked at Walgreens, the only sort of like entertainment and thing to take my mind off of what I was doing was whatever was on their radio, right? Which are the same like 20 songs. Bro, correct. I had that whole playlist memorized.
Our office at work doesn't even have a radio. So it's just general office sounds and people talking and animals making animal noises.
Animal noises, good and bad.
But I do get podcast and music time when I'm back in one of the cat areas cleaning.
Yeah, sounds like a good time. I wouldn't mind that.
It's not too bad.
You've been in Discord while
it's true. I've been in Discord, while cleaning at work.
You're like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm just taking care of letterboxes.
Yeah.
You just hear a bunch of clanging around. Like, I'm just cleaning letterboxes. Don't worry.
Exactly. They've been soaking. It was fine.
Okay. Are you ready?
Sure.
To get serious.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't mean for that.
We're so serious all the time on this podcast, even when talking about very serious topics.
Honestly, the only way to get through trauma sometimes is to laugh through it. That's why comedians are the funniest fucking people ever. They're the most traumatized people.
Yeah, it's my favorite way to cope with things.
To laugh at it and go, I'm stupid.
Often makes other people uncomfortable.
100%.
But I think they're funny.
Hey, as long as you think it's funny, that's all that matters, dude.
Exactly.
Well, okay, so I was inspired to have today's episode be about gaslighting after being heavily gaslit. Wow.
Crazy.
Literally that day or the day after, I was like, Rachel, we're talking about gaslighting on the podcast. And you're like, okay.
I think it was while it was still sort of actively happening.
I was like, I need to talk about this.
Yeah, I think it was still sort of actively happening.
It's fine. I got unfriended on Facebook. I discovered. It's fine. And I don't want to get too much into it because I don't think I'm ready to, but we're going to talk about what gaslighting is, where it comes from, and then some insight from some friendos who will remain
Anonymous.
Bro, at least once a podcast I can't speak English.
Anonymous.
Some friendos will
Anonymity.
So friendos will remain what the fuck? You say it.
Anonymous.
That word. Why am I having trouble? It's the two words. Remain anonymous. Okay, there we go.
There you go. You got it.
Friendos will remain anonymous, just for their protection, and why the fuck not? Like I don't feel the need to expose anyone other than myself, and I'll expose Rachel every now and then with consent.
Yeah, no, you can expose me. It's good.
It's fine. It's better than me being exposed yesterday. All
right. So I can kind of read a general definition of what gaslighting is.
Yes.
So gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse where a person or group makes someone question their sanity, perception of reality, or memories. People experiencing gaslighting often feel confused, anxious, and unable to trust themselves.
Right. And I feel like gaslighting sometimes is a very broad statement. Or a very broad word. It can have a lot of different applications, but sometimes I feel like the word is used and it's not the correct word to be using.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, fun fact, I literally just learned this before we started recording, is that the term gaslighting comes from a play and a film called Gaslight. And it's when the husband in this play manipulates his wife into thinking she has a mental illness by dimming their gas-fueled lights and telling her that she is hallucinating, which that right there kind of tells you the context of what gaslighting is, since that's like where it's derived from, where you're being told
intentionally manipulative.
Exactly. And gaslighting is manipulating. Yes,
it's not just like, I think a lot of people sometimes use the word interchangeably with lying now. But it's not somebody just lying or leaving out part of the truth. It's somebody intentionally doing so to harm another.
Exactly. And when I was dealing with this thing the other day, I called it out. I said, please don't gaslight me. And I know that the person that I said this to then Googled it, because they sent me an explanation that is exactly the explanation that we just read.
Yep.
Which, yes, but no. Great. Glad you learned a new word today, but stop.
Knowledge is important.
It is, which I didn't even know what gaslighting was until probably maybe 5-ish years ago, when I was explaining to another friend back in school, after I transferred from the school we went to, the other school I went to, a really close friend of mine from there was like, yeah, that situation you're in, that's gaslighting, dude. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And she explained it.
I think I also had to be told that I was being gaslit.
I thought it was fucking normal.
Yeah.
We're on a path of self-discovery. Literally, a lot of the things that I find out are wrong, are things that I thought were normal. And just part of, the everyday adult experience. No, honey, that's trauma.
Right. Well, and for me, I think I've talked about this with you a little bit, but I think a lot of my current anxiety still stems from being previously gaslit in my life, and still not fully trusting myself or my reality, even though I'm not, actively in that kind of abuse anymore.
Right. Which, consequences of being gaslit is just constantly questioning yourself after having someone have you questioning everything because that's what they want you to do. That carries on into adulthood, especially if it's happening to you as a kid, especially if it's somebody that's a parental or, authoritative figure. If they have you questioning everything, that's gonna carry on throughout your whole life, and you're not gonna be able to fucking control it, no matter how aware you are of it.
Yeah, it seeps into everything, whether you want it to or not. It's just one of those things that, again, like you said, especially, I would consider it a learned response to continue questioning things even when you're out of it, because that's what you thought was normal. You thought you were supposed to be questioning everything.
Right. And even then, sometimes, just some examples of how gaslighting can present itself. There's a few different ways it can come about. And they seem kind of normal, but they're very derogatory and pointed of like, like question the things that you're confident about for my sake, sort of thing. So the first one that's mentioned here in this is an article from medicalnewstoday.com on gaslighting. Again, we're not professionals. This is just based off of our experience, but these are some, words to put to our experiences. So countering, this describes a person questioning someone's memories. So that's asking someone like, are you sure? Like, you have a bad memory. Like, you never remember things. Withholding, they refuse to engage in a conversation. So they'll say like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're confusing me. Like, for the sake of you to not continue that conversation. Which a lot of these, they're like similar but different. It's weird.
Yeah, they're all the same behavior manifesting in different ways.
Yeah. Trivializing, so occurs when a person belittles or disregards the other person's feelings. So they'll accuse them of being too sensitive or overreacting, or have you ever gotten the like, I'm sorry you feel that way?
Yeah, and this is one that I have a lot of personal experience with. Mm-hmm. I was often told that I was just overthinking things or was, being too sensitive about something that quote unquote shouldn't matter.
Right. Which then when you're being told that, you're going to continue to do it 10 times more.
Correct. Because I'm anxious.
Right. And all of these things play, like gaslighting just makes your already pre-existing things so much worse.
Yeah, 100%.
The next one being denial. So it involves a person pretending to forget how events occurred, which is similar to countering, I guess. They may deny having said or done something, or accuse someone of making that thing up that, they're being accused of. Diverting. So with this technique, a person changes the focus of a discussion and questions the other person's credibility instead. I think that is very much the one that I have dealt with a whole lot, is especially when I feel like I finally like grow a pair and I'm like putting my foot down and saying, no, actually, like, that's not correct. Yeah, stop doing that. Stop gaslighting me. And then it's diverted. Yeah, saying, well, I don't want to get into the specifics, but it was very, like, you saw the conversation. Yes, it's very much diverting.
And the instance I'm thinking of, you also were involved in for mine. So.
Yeah. Yeah, diverting is very much, like, I'm very familiar with this. Yeah,
that one we know.
And then stereotyping. So someone who uses gaslighting techniques may intentionally use negative stereotypes of a person's gender, race, ethnicity, sexuality, nationality, or age to manipulate them. So, for example, they may tell a female that people think she's irrational or crazy if she seeks help for abuse. This is like a stranger one that seems super specific. And I'm not quite sure.
It is. I can think of instances, though, where I have received some that way as well. Mm-hmm. For instance, I identify as bisexual, and there are lots of very negative stereotypes about being bisexual that I have had previous partners try to use against me, even though they were not things that were true of me.
Gotcha. Okay. I wasn't fully understanding it. So it's using those things against you as if that's the issue.
Yeah, as if that's what the problem is.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Interesting. And something it mentions here is that, like, which I totally agree with, is this is an imbalance of power is when gaslighting typically presents itself, which in my experience is yes. In any situation where I've felt like I've been gaslit, there's an imbalance of power. It's somebody who, although maybe they don't have power over me, they think they do, which is interesting, especially when it comes from someone who thinks they have power and they don't, or someone who used to have power and currently doesn't, but they still like want that.
Yeah, they are trying to regain that power.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which this article goes into tons of things, such as, child-parent relationships, intimate partner relationships. There's medical gaslighting, racial gaslighting, political gaslighting, which we see a lot of on social media all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So if you were kind of not familiar with gaslighting and you're thinking that some of these things apply, here's a few signs of gaslighting. Again, this is from the same article, and then we'll get into some more like personal stuff. So people on the receiving end of gaslighting often find it difficult to realize they're experiencing this abuse, which gaslighting is abuse. They may not question the abusive person's behavior because they're in a position of authority or because they feel reliant on them. So the National Domestic Violence Hotline indicate that a person experiencing gaslighting may feel confused and constantly second guess themselves. I'm just going to check mark everything off as we go. Find it difficult to make simple decisions.
Check.
I'm a Libra. That's normal.
That's true.
Or
that's
is it?
Well, yes.
Frequently question if they are too sensitive.
Check.
Become withdrawn or unsociable.
Check.
Defend the abusive person's behavior. Check. Lie to family and friends to avoid having to make excuses for them.
No. Check.
And feel hopeless, joyless, worthless, or incompetent. Check. Gaslighting can also cause anxiety, depression, and psychological trauma, especially if it's part of a wider abuse pattern, right? Because gaslighting cannot be the only way that someone can be abusive. This is one of many tools that they can use to abuse you.
Way that some people do it.
It's a trick up the sleeve of some. So this article is actually super helpful, and because I before talking about this, I was familiar with gaslighting and what it is. But honestly, I didn't read the whole thing until, just now, sort of. And it's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it covers more than you thought it did.
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit more of just like reading. I posted out on Twitter asking for some gaslighting experiences. I got a few replies and they went to the DMs, which I totally respect. If you ever want to send something in relating to what we're talking about and contributing to the conversation, you don't have to do so publicly on Twitter. You can hit us in the DMs. You will remain anonymous. It'll be confidential. It does not leave those DMs. So first of all, I appreciate everybody who did reach out and contributed a story, because first of all, that takes some balls.
Yeah, it does.
Second of all, like reliving trauma just to tell me about it. Like, you don't have to do that. And thank you for trusting us with that information.
100%.
So we have a friendo who I love dearly, who has an ex that weaponized his mental health, which we're very familiar with.
Yes. Yep.
He says that she wanted him off his psych meds, because she thought it would sterilize him. She wanted kids. Oh, my copy and paste fucked up here. That's fine. She also, she also claimed that he would hit her and punch her, and then when questioned would change the story to, oh, it was in his sleep where like he bumped me, and then would come back later and say that he was full on punching her in his sleep but didn't believe he was actually sleeping, which none of these were actually happening. She went as far as to tell so this person has a military background. So for the context of this, she went as far as to tell NCIS, Gibbs, hello, and the family counseling, I love him, and the family counseling service on base that he had sexually assaulted and raped her and her friend. This dated back to September and October, but the file was made when he handed her separation papers the following April. Since the friend was a civilian, it involved local PD. So that's a whole range of bullshit that had to happen.
It's an extra layer of nonsense.
Exactly. It was investigated by a total of 3 separate agencies, and he was found innocent, not guilty, because it never went to trial because no evidence was found against him. And he had all the evidence in the world to prove that like that wasn't a thing. And there's 2 kickers here at the end that really like first of all of these things are gaslighting, right? Making someone feel like, especially the first thing with the medication, making him question the thing that was helping him mentally with his mental health, using that against him to push her agenda. Not cool. That's fucked up.
Yep.
Still to this day, she has domestic violence / sexual assault tag on all our social medias, which only appeared after he eliminated all contact with her. And he had some friends coming to him saying that he was the reason that she put those there. And then not so fun fact is the state of North Carolina does not recognize women as domestic abusers or sexual assaulters. Which, I mean, fucking anybody can be an asshole. Yeah.
Big facts.
But there's a lot to dissect there, and again, we're not professionals, but there's a lot of gaslighting in there, making someone question everything, and then making claims to do what? I don't know.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that as somebody who has experienced abuse and gaslighting, a lot of the specific things that this partner was doing to him are like types of gaslighting that directly lead into more forms of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of mental abuse and sort of destabilizing somebody else's mental health makes them typically an easier target for other forms of abuse.
Right, tearing someone down just to keep kicking them.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's the same reason that lots of abusers separate the person they're abusing from friends and family and things like that is because the fewer connections to actual reality they have, the more likely they are to ease themselves into this person's sort of created reality within the abuse.
Right. And I can't say all the people that reached out to me directly, it was gaslighting from an intimate partner. Someone that they were with for many years.
Which is not fun.
It's not. And it's hard to tell sometimes because I noticed these were all like pretty long-term relationships. And even in my experience, like how can you even like see those red flags until it's too late?
Yeah, a lot of times it is, which is unfortunate.
No fun. But thank you, friends, for sharing that. And I'm so sorry that I don't know. I don't want to speak on someone else's experiences, so I appreciate the input from other people. That's awesome. I really don't know where to go talking about gaslighting, but I did find some resources on like how to like quote unquote respond to gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's recommended that you can like keep a secret diary. It helps you keep track of events, including date, times, details. These are all things to kind of like gather proof of events that are important to you.
Yeah,
so
you can write things down as they happen, so that there's not time for anybody to change your mind on what really occurred.
Exactly. Literally, in any way you can document like important events to, I guess, help convince yourself that you're not making shit up. And if someone does question it, you have a point of reference and you don't have to worry about, oh shit, maybe I'm not remembering correctly. Because there are studies that show that, anxiety, depression, and other mental health illnesses like can affect your memory. So if you're
100%.
already struggling with that and then have someone questioning your memory on top of that, like how do you know without if you don't have some sort of track record? Talking to family, friends, a counselor, a professional, of course, is always. I don't know. I struggle advocating for talking to a professional because I tried it and I didn't follow through with it because I thought it was a load of ludicrous. But I think I also feel comfortable advocating for it because I know that quitting is not the answer. Didn't fucking help me.
And I will say that finding a professional that you're comfortable talking to and sharing that stuff with is not easy. Like sometimes it takes more than one try.
Mm-hmm. Which I had an open conversation with my mom about how, because I've mentioned here on a previous episode where once I get my health insurance ready, set, go, which it kicks in on the 1st. Exciting, right? I had a very open conversation with her about gaslighting, and she was like, yep, sounds like nothing I'm new to, which was fun to talk about. But then I was honest with her and was like, and I think once I get my insurance all figured out, I'm gonna try to find someone to talk to again. She was like, yeah, I think you should. I think that would be good for you. And she also mentioned that she like low key was trying to find a way to talk to me about it. Because she was like, you're in a much better place where you're not like in the middle of craziness.
Which is what it took for me to see a professional again, too.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get myself out before I could take further steps.
Yeah, because it's hard to talk about something while you're in it. It's easier when you're kind of out of it and can look back on it.
Yeah, especially when you're in it with something like gaslighting, often includes that person convincing you don't need help. That you're crazy, but you don't need help.
Yeah.
It's just who you are and how you are. It's hard to seek help when you're being told you don't need it or that it won't help.
Mm-hmm. And even like gaslighting is, you know, like someone metaphorically, someone whispering in your ear and being that like devil on your shoulder. That kind of adds your own self-doubt where you're
it does.
You're believing it and you're like, yeah, you're right. Of course how did I not see that before? And you kind of like fucking spiral from there.
Yep.
So pulling yourself out of it is the first part and probably the hardest part, honestly.
Yeah.
But again,
takes a lot.
Yeah. But she mentioned, she was like, you know, you would come back from your like your appointments and then just talk about how like, yeah, she only wants to talk about like things from forever ago, which, you know, Kaitlyn, I understand why those past events are important to talk about, but all you wanted was help with the now and what you were going through now. And that's hard when you don't have like the past to talk about.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense. But like, help me now.
They need context to know the root of what the problem actually is. Because typically problems like that aren't new.
Right. They don't just appear. They've like been around for a while. They came from somewhere.
Been festering. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. And I was just like, nope. Why do you need to know about the time I was 6 and had a mental breakdown? Like, it doesn't matter, lady. I'm paying you. Which also I think was a huge... It was hard for me being... How old was I? I was probably 19, 20 at the time. Yeah. I don't know. Somewhere around there. But, you know, a college student. And it was coming out of my pocket. Like, I paid the insurance deductible. Thankfully, you know, it was my family insurance, so the plan was great. But it was coming out of my pocket. And I was like, fuck this. We're just going to talk about what happened to me years ago. Like, why am I paying you for me to sit here and cry and be upset and go home feeling worse than I did coming in here? It's terrible.
Gotta feel worse before you can feel better.
I know, and I hate it, and I know that now. But like, when you're in it, you don't think about it. I cry for almost
a full hour every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
like pretty much from the get-go.
No, I always get excited for you. Excited's probably a weird word to use, but I feel
I get excited to go to therapy.
Right, because we love her.
Yeah, we do love Julie.
It's hard to say because I know you're gonna have a terrible fucking day afterwards. But usually,
that day is always rough.
Right, but the few days after that, like I feel like, you know, you're doing pretty good, and like seeing you that way makes me, you know, excited for you as a friendo. Obviously, I hate seeing you hurt because that's you know, whoever hurts you, I want to fucking fight. I can take on a fucking wrestling state champ who's out of shape. It's fine.
You and like 7 other people have offered, so. Including as recently as like a week ago.
Oh shit, let's go. I will, and that's the thing too, I will fight for anybody except myself.
Yeah, why? I have the same problem.
This is a question I don't need to be asking you. I need to ask a professional.
Yeah, that's why we've got each other, is we just fight for each other.
Pretty much, dude. And everybody
that's kind of how it's been the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Whether we knew it or not.
Yeah, whether we knew that's what we were doing yet. That's kind of been the base of this friendship, was taking care of each other because we recognized that we weren't doing it ourselves.
Yeah, it's fucking love it. Love mental health conversation. Honestly, Rachel, you're probably the only person that I've like 100% been honest with when it comes to my mental health and shit.
And I appreciate that. I'm glad you trust me.
I'm glad you trust me. Like, I just recently, like, this was the first time I ever talked to my mom about gaslighting, and the first time I ever talked to her about my mental health since the fiasco years ago. And I was, like, on my high horse after telling that person off that day. So I was like, I don't regret what I said. I'm fine with it.
I still don't think you should regret what you said.
Oh, and she told me the same thing. And she's like, understand where they're coming from, but it's not an excuse. understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, you can understand a person's actions and behaviors and still not agree with them.
Oh, 100%. I can understand and still be pissed off and hurt. Yeah, that's another thing too, is
have empathy for that person without being sympathetic.
And I think those two are synonymous in that person's mind, where you know, if you know, it excuses how I act when I treat you like shit, and that's end all be all, and it's for your betterment. No, it's not. There was something I actually read. I'm gonna pull it up.
Do it.
Weird, awkward pause. But let me see. Okay. Are you ready for some truth tea?
Absolutely.
Sometimes people use respect to mean treating someone like a person. And sometimes they use respect to mean treating someone like an authority. And sometimes people who are used to being treated like an authority say, if you won't respect me, I won't respect you. And they mean, if you won't treat me like an authority, I won't treat you like a person. And they think they're being fair, but they aren't, and it's not okay.
Yep. I have experience with that.
Yeah. This is something I randomly saw on Facebook, and of course it's a Tumblr post from God knows when.
Yeah. Probably like 2013.
Probably. And it's, I don't know. I love when somebody finds the words to a feeling that I have never been able to explain.
Yeah.
Which gaslighting was one of those words. To bring it full circle.
I am very much, and this is a thing that sometimes my therapist gets mad at me about, but I am very much somebody who wants to have all of the words to describe things. Mm-hmm. And so, for instance, having a clear-cut diagnosis for me helps me confront that and helps me work on it, because I know exactly what it is. I can put a name to it, and that helps me move forward.
Right. And I think having a name to it kind of legitimizes it being a thing and not just like this.
Yeah, it's not just a thing I experience. Right. Yeah, it's a thing that
it's a tangible thing yeah, exactly. And I think that's something I'm missing, is everything I'm experiencing and feeling just feels like a feeling and like just part of life, when really I am positive that there are words to explain these things and diagnoses to explain why I think and feel the way I think and feel. Mm-hmm. Which I would, again, as soon as I get all this shit figured out, I'd love, if it's okay, to just openly, like, you know, really get into how I'm exploring all of that, because I know it'll help me, and it helps me talk about it, because then I can also, something I didn't have is I would go to these, you know, therapy appointments with this weird lady that, I don't know, she was just weird. I fucking hate her. You know, when it was emotional time, and then I would drive myself home, and like that was my day. And I didn't have any outlet to reflect on that reflection, because it's a lot of information, and it's a lot of feelings, and just like it's overwhelming, and not to be able to talk about what happened with the therapist like afterwards, it's
to continue talking about it,
right, and even get like a more personable conversation. Like I couldn't even talk to my like family about it, because I was just like uncomfortable with the whole situation. So if it's okay, I would love to open the conversation, obviously do it here as well, but I mean honestly just with you in general, like 100%. Hey, this is what happened, and we've already done it before on your end.
That's true. And that's why one thing I really like about my therapist is that she gives me homework assignments. And she's like, okay, like I see you're just kind of generally really struggling right now. Before you see me again, I want you to work on incorporating, you know, a certain level of self-care into your day every day. And like make sure you're making time to do things like brush your hair and brush your teeth and wash your dishes. Like, because those things will help you mentally as well.
Right.
That's a good way to gives me tasks.
Good. And that's a good way to like carry it over, rather than it only being a thing that's worked on and talked about in that session, which is what I was doing.
Yeah, she gives me tools in sessions and then gives me tasks to use them on in life.
Fuck yeah. Bro, I'm like nervous and excited.
That's how I feel every time.
Like I don't want to confront these things, but I know when I do, it'll be worth it Maybe not the first
100%.
time, maybe not the second time, but eventually.
Absolutely.
Makes me nervous. My mom also was like, maybe you could try like the online one, because I know sometimes, you know, it's hard for you to just leave the house and, you know, have to be presentable and go talk to somebody. And I was like, yeah, that's probably the best, but at the same time I should get out of the house. But I
go
know
to therapy in my jammies half the time.
that sounds like a good idea, actually.
It's not too bad. They don't care. They've seen better and worse mental health states than yours. Like they don't care what you show up looking like.
Facts. I'm nervous, but it's okay.
I believe in you.
Oh, I'm trying to think if there's anything else gaslighting related. Obviously, if you're experiencing any sort of abuse, there's hotlines and phone numbers and all that. But I don't know what else. A gaslighting personality? Oh, that's a thing. Someone can literally have gaslighting as a personality. Interesting. What? Wait, what did I just click? Where is it? Where did it go?
Did you lose it?
I did. It was on betterhelp.com, which I know is they have like online therapies and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, gaslighter personality. What makes a person think that it's okay to manipulate or confuse someone else, and how can you identify them? While there is not a gaslighter personality disorder, rather there are personality traits that may signal to you that a person is a gaslighter. Oh, fuck. Authoritative personality. Oh. People with this type of personality typically see no faults in themselves, but find it very easy to point out the traits or shortcomings of others.
Narcissism.
Ooh.
That's a narcissist.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Next week, can we talk about like being a narcissist and how that affects literally everything?
Yeah, we can talk about narcissism.
Yeah. I will try to come a little more prepared instead of reading things live while we're recording. I will read things a little beforehand.
People know what they signed up for with this podcast.
Oh yeah, it's literally whatever the fuck we want.
They know. They made it this far into the podcast. It doesn't matter.
I love it. I'm down for that. All right, next week, narcissism. So if you have anything you want to contribute, you can hit us up in Twitter DMs, either personal or on our Twitter account, which is Sad Bitch Pod. I never remember what it is, bro.
It is Sad Bitch Club Pod.
Sad Bitch Club Pod.
Yup.
Hit the DMs there or our personal DMs. If you have any experience with narcissism, we'll tweet it out as well. But before we wrap up, did you have any sort of wacky fact of the week or whatever the fuck you got going on?
I don't think I have any this week.
It's fine. We haven't played D&D in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's just because availability is hard.
Yeah, well, everyone's had live stuff showing up.
Yeah, life do be lifing.
It wasn't even stuff we could plan for the most part.
Yeah, and that's okay. You know,
yeah,
I'd rather the homies, figure their shit out and handle
I have regular D&D tomorrow night. I ran my first session last week.
Wait! You didn't tell me! How'd it go?
I got pretty good feedback on it. It went pretty well. They killed my big monster so fast. Way faster than they should have. But just because they were smarter. They cast hold person on her so she couldn't move. They tied her up with restraints and then they just chopped her head off.
Oh, fun. That's one way to do it, I'm sure.
Yep. Wasn't what I thought they were going to do, but it was a way.
I don't understand. Like, literally anything can happen and you're just like, okay, well, that wasn't planned, but here we are.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, no. No, what? DMing seems very stressful.
It's a lot of improv.
Yeah. Well,
like you make a plan, but you also leave space in your plan to make shit up as you go. Just kind of how I live my life, so it works out.
Yeah. You have years of experience.
I sure do.
I don't think I have much going on. We talked about how I have a bunch of candles happening.
Lots of candles.
I'll probably do like a Mother's Day sale of some sort. Then
when
again,
is Mother's Day actually?
The 9th of May, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That sounds right.
It's a Sunday, so I believe it.
Okay, cool.
Tells you how closely I'm gonna do anything that day.
The trust here is immaculate. Well, okay, sweet. I'm cool with where we left off.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
And obviously you guys can always reach out to us on social media and we can continue the discussion if you've got anything you want to contribute to this discussion or any of our other discussions.
Oh, exactly, because our brains probably forgot something and then we'll stop recording and go, oh, we should have talked about this.
It's true. We're just a little scatterbrained most of the time.
Most of the time, all the time. It's fine. Well, thanks for tuning in to meeting 4 of the Sad Bitch Club podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye!
Bye!